again, this has nothing to do with health. I don't know how many times I have to say this. We go into the winter months, things start to get chilly. More folks start to get a little sick, feel under the weather, and you think that firing people that work in clinics and hospitals be the last fucking thing that you want to do, regardless of vaccination status. Well, my clinic just fired fucking 700 some fucking employees who didn't comply with its policies to get vaccinated against COVID-19, and that's what CBS Minnesota reports. The dismissed employees make about 1% of its 73,000 workforce. Now, some would look like it's just 1%. All right, one of these has to be true. Either you're over-exaggerating the hospital burden, right? Or, and that may very well be the case. Or, on the other side, which is also very likely, you are trying to conjure up a narrative in which you are overwhelmed. But it's a self-inflicted wound, right? It's okay, you knew the stove was hot and you put your hand on it anyway. So they fired a bunch of employees in a clinic, for the Mayo Clinic, who worked there, despite them, going into these winter months. Officials say it's sad to lose valuable employees. It's essential to keep patients, the workforce, visitors, and communities safe. Employees released Tuesday can return if they for future job openings if they get vaccinated, is what they say. Now, I just want everybody to pick up on that logic there, okay? Again, you have to understand a big talk. That was what 2 weeks slow to spread was supposed to be all about. Hospital resources and making sure that you had the people that can tend to the patients. You didn't exhaust your hospital resources. Now explain to me why on earth would you do something like this in the event that, you're trying to ensure that you have all hands on deck. Why would you do this? Why on earth would you do this when he has able-bodied, capable people? And again, it's like we're keeping them safe. How? Those jabbed employees can still catch it and spread it to a patient. They could still do that. Now, I'd imagine that you're in more of a controlled environment. You guys understand how to wear the mask. The ones that may be a far more, let's say, useful in those given areas, which is what most of the studies had said. They were only useful in certain environments. But for the most part, they weren't. Like in everyday life, cloth masks, fucking useless. N95 that are specifically fitted for your face in a given controlled setting may be a little more useful. But just the general mask that your random person is just wearing or that is not effective. But you think they'd have that shit under control. So why on earth would you do something like this? I don't know. Maybe you're trying to conjure up a narrative. Because as we go into January and going into February, and again, I don't know if this is going to happen. I'm not saying that it is. But again, one of them have to be true. But if they do get, let's say, see kind of a spike in be it ICUs or whatever it is, they're going to say that, oh, well, look at us, we're overwhelmed, blaming it on the unvaccinated, and then you done fuck around and fired all these goddamn employees, and obviously this is the same only hospital that's done it. Actually, there's been a bunch of hospitals that have gone back on it. I got two of my closest buddies, one of them and his wife are unvaccinated. They have held the line, be it through exemptions or whatever, and they have not been fired because they know that they're not piece of shit workers and they need them. Right. And this is what I was encouraging other folks to do, to call their bluff, because in a lot of cases they have been going back on some of these policies. It was more of a, hey, we were threatening you to do it and then you didn't do it. And it's like, OK, we still need to work. Right. But I guess on the other hand, it could be also a case of, well, this is over exaggerated. And we've talked about that through the pandemic, have we not? And we've seen how some of these numbers are largely overstated when you look at certain areas and certain pockets. You look at these capacities. And throughout the year, definitely around this time, they often would prior to COVID, 80, 90, 95%. in terms of ICU capacity, and they're meeting it. And that was a normal thing. It wasn't because of COVID, it was a normal thing. I don't know why it is that they're doing it, but I do know it's some sketchy shit either way that it goes. And that's all I'm asking you to look in below the surface, because they're speaking out both sides of their mouth. Oh, look at us. Because of you guys, we're going to be overwhelmed. And the hospitals, my hospitals. Meanwhile, we're just going to fire a bunch of fucking people. Makes all the sense in the world. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.